Hello there and welcome to another edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, or what you may not known about Doctor Who. This time we're going to have a look at another 7th Doctor story, because I haven't done a 7th Doctor story for quite a while, The Happiness Patrol. I hope you enjoy. The theme of this story is extremely political, but interestingly the commentary on two completely different politics, Thatcherism and communism. The Thatcherism is highlighted by the main villain, Helen A, who was based on Margaret Thatcher. However, the way she forces everyone to follow the false happiness or be punished with people disappearing off the streets is heavily influenced by communism and its efforts to force people to think and act the same way. Initially, director Chris Clow wanted the whole serial to be black and white, with the ending having the colour returned, but this wasn't allowed. The colour issue is further highlighted by the lack of set design, which Sylvester McCoy complained about, thinking black and white would have fixed the issue. The Candyman is the only villain not allowed to reappear, as it was based on the Bassett's brand of licorice all sorts mascot Bertie Bassett. The company complained to the BBC about the similarities and that children were supposedly frightened to buy the candy. Working title for the story is The Crooked Smile. Believe it or not, this story was originally meant to be a First Doctor story called The Jokers. However, in The Jokers, laughter was forbidden and being serious was the law. The story wasn't the same nonetheless. In the scene set in the underground tunnels in Part 3, the Candyman has no metal brace around his mouth. This was added to the costume following these initial recordings to try and disguise the features of the actor inside. The howl of Helen A's pet, Fifi, was performed by director Chris Clow. Owen Williams, Archbishop of Canterbury, referred to this story in his 2011 Easter sermon on the subject of happiness and joy. In the original script, the story took place over several weeks. To compensate for the fact that all the action now took place over a single night, Graham Curry decided to have Helen A's regime already crumbling at the start of the adventure. The script originally contained a prison area called Arcadia, complete with dozens of fruit machines and an elaborate go-kart game, but because of budgetary restrictions, this was replaced with a far simpler waiting zone. In the original script, Ace tricked Susan Q into helping escape instead of Susan doing so willingly. Earl Sigma originally played the trumpet. The Candyman was originally just a human, which Graham Curry preferred over the robot design, and actually went back to this design for the novelisation. Another cut idea was the Candyman cutting off his own fingers and calmly reattaching them, cut obviously for being too dark. And the final original script dropped idea was that the Doctor and Ace were to be forced to perform to survive, but this felt similar to The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Sheila Hancock only accepted the role of Helen A if she could play her as Margaret Thatcher, whom she hated with a passion. The idea of the Candyman was inspired by what would happen if Tim Burton directed Doctor Who. There was a prequel comic where Helen A first met Fifi and her rise to power to become leader of the Happiness Patrol. It also reveals that Helen A was executed after the story. Georgina Hale thought she had been cast as Helen A and was upset that she had been cast as Daisy Kay. The infamously poor car chase scene was the way it is because the story was filmed in a small studio. It was too dangerous to have the vehicles move at more than what is quite obviously less than walking pace. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. The Happiness Patrol is one of those really underrated Doctor Who stories because it is a genuinely really good story, and it's one that I find quite topical for today, considering the fact that the main villain is forcing everyone to have the same mindset, to be happy no matter what, even though it's a really downtrodden, miserable state of affairs, and really forcing everyone to have the same beliefs, the same everything, a very communistic, almost socialist ideology. It's a very fascinating piece because a lot of it sort of happens today. You know, you just have to go on social media and see just how everyone needs to have the same opinion and the same everything, and there's no differences whatsoever, or else, you know, you're either with us or you're our enemy. And I really love that style of storytelling for the Happiness Patrol because it takes that concept and puts it to its most extreme, and it shows just how difference is important. You know, making everyone the same is a terrible idea because everyone is different, everyone is unique, and forcing happiness onto people isn't necessarily a great way of doing things because people can be sad, people can be angry, people can have different emotions. And I think the way it goes about it is pretty chilling in that sense, but obviously it's done in a more comedic and child-friendly way, which I think is really effective, which is why I really like the Happiness Patrol a lot. The Candyman is just a bizarre villain, but it's such a brilliant villain nonetheless. And Helena is such a vicious bitch, but you just can't help but love her at the same time. You do feel kind of sorry for her at the end when Fifi dies, because poor Fifi was just like a pet. It was just a normal animal. That thing didn't deserve to die, let's be honest. But nonetheless, The Happiness Patrol is one that I think people should definitely watch, and I think it's very relevant to today. Like, you could do a remake of this story and it could probably be very topical. But nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Did You Know Doctor Who, and I'll see you next time.